Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Tyler, and today we're going to be starting a brand new what if suggested by Chaku in the comment section. Shoutouts to you, bro. And today we're going to be doing what if Naruto killed Sasuke. Now, the specific scenario where it's going to be taking place in isn't going to be in Shippuden, but rather back in all the way in part 1 when Naruto and Sasuke were having their battle on the rooftop. What if Kakashi didn't intercept? And we saw clearly, based off of the DC of the attacks, that Naruto clearly had the stronger attack, and if he and Sasuke were to clash, Sasuke probably would have gotten bodied. And so that leads me to the question, what would have happened had Naruto accidentally killed Sasuke? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be getting into this what if now, but before we start off, if you guys want to suggest your what ifs, just please comment them down or go to my recent community tab where I asked you guys to give me what if suggestions because I'm running out of ideas and I don't really know what to do now. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we can now move on to part 1 of what if Naruto killed Sasuke. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, collecting rings like a Sonic. Bitches wanna party. My wrist gets heavy, so got 'em on a diet, yeah. Flex like I'm holding. Yo, bitch coming over. Yeah, we respect.
Alright, so we start our story off with Naruto and Sasuke facing off against each other on the rooftop. This would lead into them having their Chidori and Rasengan clash, and Sakura trying to intercept, and Kakashi originally would have come in and intercepted, but I'll say he's just a second too late, and the two then clash. The raw energy from that clash is enough to send Kakashi and Sakura flying from the shockwave, not even the mirror attack itself. The smoke would clear, and we would then see Sasuke completely beaten down and seemingly about to die. Naruto at this point would see Sasuke in this condition and would just question to himself, what has he done? He would then, hold Sasuke and would tell him to just, hang in there and, chill out, it's gonna be alright. But Sasuke and Naruto both know that Sasuke has sustained too much damage and lost too much blood, and it's kind of too late for him. Sasuke knows now that he was never really a match or a rival for Naruto, and now he realizes that he'll never be able to atone for his clan or kill Itachi, which would then lead into Sasuke telling Naruto, since he's not going to be the one to be able to take down Itachi, the only one left now is Naruto himself, who Itachi's going to be going after, so Naruto needs to be ready. And Sasuke would basically give Naruto his last dying wish. And this results into Sasuke's death, which Sakura, when she recovers along with Kakashi, they would both be devastated. Sakura for obvious reasons, considering the fact that she had a crush on Sasuke for the longest, and even though he didn't really like her all that much, she still liked him a lot. So it's still going to affect her. And as for Kakashi, Kakashi literally was treating Sasuke like his own son. Kakashi was training a version of himself, and with that version of himself gone, he's devastated as well. And Kakashi and Sakura both know that it is Naruto's fault, but Naruto didn't really intend to kill Sasuke. However, Sakura herself is a lot more mad at Naruto than Kakashi would be, because Kakashi obviously would understand, but Sakura would just be blinded by rage. The last thing Sakura would say to Naruto is, "How could you have done it? It should have been you," and would just proceed to walk off. And Kakashi would try and calm Naruto down and would tell him that he understands that he didn't mean to do this and it was all just a really, really big accident. And Naruto would then just be devastated at himself and would tell Kakashi that even though he didn't mean it, he still did it. And Naruto honestly just doesn't know what to do. And I know you guys are probably gonna think in the comment section, oh, well, in your what if Pain killed Naruto, Naruto came back, so wouldn't Sasuke come? No, I'm not gonna have Sasuke come back with the fucking Rinnegan and Sharingan. Okay, that's not gonna happen. I think for this what if, I think it would be pretty interesting to actually have Sasuke dead here, so we're gonna have him permanently gone. So Sasuke's gone, guys. He's not coming back. And with this on Naruto's mind, Naruto would leave the area with Kakashi, obviously, and he would just be thinking to himself, why he did what he did. Why did he even think of using that powerful jutsu? And honestly, Naruto just doesn't know what to do with himself anymore. He feels like a monster. He's starting to realize why people all those years ago were calling him all those weird names and ignoring him and not acknowledging him. And with this, the Sound Four would try and go out to try and look for Sasuke, but they wouldn't find him anywhere to be seen. And with this, they would report back to Orochimaru that Sasuke isn't there, and they really don't know where he is. They looked everywhere in the village. Orochimaru would be enraged and would tell them, what do they mean that Sasuke wasn't there? And Jiroba would try to explain to Orochimaru, but obviously he would be getting confused and stuttering, and he's being very nervous, which just pisses Orochimaru off. He proceeds to then throw a snake hand through Jiroba's chest, and telling him to stop stuttering or for someone else to explain. And obviously Jiroba's not going to be focusing on talking, and Kidomaru would then pick up from what Jiroba left off and would basically elaborate to Orochimaru that they did search thoroughly through everywhere and he wasn't there. And Orochimaru would then think to himself if it was possible, if Sasuke might have maybe died. But how could that be possible? How could, Orochimaru's just confused at this point. He doesn't know what to do. And obviously, since Kimimaro is sick, he's not going to be able to take his body, which would then lead into Orochimaru taking the random body, and he would be fine for another 2.5 years, but Orochimaru needs to find a new body, ASAP. Kabuto would heal Jiroba and recover him, and this would lead into the Sound Four, plus Kabuto searching out and trying to look for a new body for Orochimaru to host. And with this wouldn't lead into a Sasuke retrieval arc, and none of that would actually happen. Rather, we would just kind of rush to the conclusion of part 1, considering the fact that the last arc had completely been revolved around Sasuke being kidnapped, and since Sasuke is dead, he can't be kidnapped, meaning this arc wouldn't happen at all. It's impossible for it to happen. So we'll just say that we'll skip towards the end of part 1 with Naruto being told about the Akatsuki trying to hunt him down, leading into Naruto going through a much more significant training arc, in my opinion, considering the fact that he wants to try and obtain power that could defeat Itachi. I think Naruto here as well would understand the fact that Itachi is a powerful opponent, and making bigger Rasengans and slightly being able to control Kurama's chakra isn't going to be enough. So I think Jiraiya would take Naruto's training to the next level, and would teach Naruto about chakra natures and all that stuff, which would lead into Naruto discovering his wind affinity and him making a brand new jutsu, which would lead into the Rasen Shuriken. Yes, the Rasen Shuriken is going to be made here rather than later on due to Naruto having a lot more motivation to train. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, oh, with this motivation, shouldn't he be going out to go and, learn Sage Mode and all of that stuff? But honestly, I don't see that being possible, considering the fact that it's a little bit a bigger stretch than Naruto learning the Rasen Shuriken, and plus, Naruto's training and his learning curve throughout Shippuden, the Rasen Shuriken came first, so I think that'll first come up to mind in Sage Mode, and I don't think Jiraiya would think Naruto's ready for that yet. But yeah, regardless, Naruto is slightly stronger than his canon self with the ability to use his Rasen Shuriken. And I think here Naruto would also be able to actually wield Kurama's chakra just a little bit better than his canon self, he can wield a one-tailed cloak and not go berserk, and can slightly resist the, mental effects of the second-tailed state. But 3 tails and forward on, yeah, Naruto's just going to be a psycho. But yeah, regardless, guys, Naruto is slightly stronger, and this would lead into the Kage rescue mission. And I'll say here that Naruto, when they encounter the Itachi clone, Naruto is way more motivated to defeat this thing, and since he is stronger, I'll say Naruto actually defeats the Itachi clone earlier, leading into Team 7 arriving just before Gaara gets his tailed beast fully extracted. Also, as for Sakura, I think over the course of the 2.5 years, she would be able to cope with, the death of Sasuke, and would forgive Naruto for what he did. So they're cool now. And also, I think Sasuke's death would push Kakashi and Sakura towards their training, so they would be stronger as well. Anyways, we would get into Sakura arriving right before Gaara actually gets his full beast extracted, but Deidara and Sasori have the majority of the beast extracted. However, Naruto would come in just in the nick of time, saving Gaara, and Gaara is actually not dead yet, and Deidara wouldn't be taking Gaara in this timeline, rather Naruto facing off against Deidara in the same area as Sasori, Chiyo, and Sakura are going to be fighting off. However, Deidara would be made of quick work with Naruto's new Rasen Shuriken jutsu, and I think Naruto would just bait him with Shadow Clones and tag him with the Rasen Shuriken like what he did with Kakuzu. So with that being said, Deidara would just die because the Rasen Shuriken negs durability and just kills all your cells. So yeah, he's just going to get negged here, while Sasori and Sakura and Chiyo have the exact same fight as they did in canon, with Kakashi probably making it easier for them to escape and making, Chiyo not be fully fatigued or whatnot. I think Kakashi's just there to make it a lot easier for Team 7 to win, and I think here the 2 members of the Akatsuki would fall. Now, this would then lead into the Orochimaru arc, which doesn't happen because the whole point was to go and find Sasuke. However, what will be happening is Kabuto and the Sound 4 managed to find some regular, trash body that Orochimaru can maybe host for a little bit, but Orochimaru desperately needs to find a new body. Oh, also, the reason why they can't find Sasuke's body is because Sasuke is actually buried, so they can't get Sasuke's body. Just wanted to clarify for some of you probably thinking in the comments, oh, why didn't they just take Sasuke's corpse? So we start our story where we last left off, which was with the beginning of the Kakuzu arc, since the Orochimaru arc would never happen due to the fact that Sasuke's dead, so Sasuke wouldn't even be with Orochimaru in the first place. However, the Sound 4 and Kabuto have found a new body for Orochimaru to host for a little bit, but he still needs to find a really good body, or else he's just going to be a crippled weakling for the rest of his life. And if he doesn't find a body, then I guess he'll just have to go with Plan B, which we'll get into a little bit later. As for what's going down in Konoha, Naruto currently is just chilling, since he wouldn't be learning about the Rasen Shuriken because he would never encounter Sasuke, and Sai wouldn't even be on the team due to the fact that the arc where he's introduced in, it wouldn't even take place, and this would also apply to Yamato. So I think here it would just be Naruto and Sakura kind of just vibing with Kakashi. You can maybe have some filler missions going on, and Naruto recapping with, the rest of the cast. But for what's happening right now, it's really nothing. Now, as for Asuma and Shikamaru's side of the arc, the first time they fight Hidan and Kakuzu, all that stuff happens the same. Naruto really never changes any of that. However, as for the second half of the arc where Kakashi goes out and leads Team 10, I think Naruto would hear about this and would go out a lot earlier than he did in canon, due to the fact that Naruto is worried about Kakashi and is concerned about, him going out with Team 10 and doesn't want another member of Team 7 falling. Neither does Sakura, so she decides to go out with Naruto. And you guys are probably wondering, wouldn't Naruto be, fatigued because of the Rasen Shuriken? Well, no. Naruto trained for the Rasen Shuriken for, a week, a few days at best. I don't remember necessarily, but we do know it would be, less than 2.5 years where Naruto would be learning about wind chakra and all that stuff. Obviously, he wouldn't be learning it for the full 2.5 years, but I think the time span Naruto would be learning about the Rasen Shuriken would be a way bigger time span than the time Naruto would be learning the Rasen Shuriken in canon. And with that being said, Naruto will be able to use the Rasen Shuriken once again before, needing to, go to the hospital or get yelled at by Tsunade to not use his, secret jutsu. Now, we would get Naruto and Sakura arriving a lot earlier, so it wouldn't be around when Kakuzu's in his transformed state. It would probably be around when Shikamaru takes Hidan and he and Hidan have their final fight. Which, by the way, all that happens the exact same. Shikamaru versus Hidan is the one fight in most of my what-ifs I never change up, so yeah, that's not changing here. But as for the Kakuzu fight, Choji, Ino, and Kakashi aren't going to be in as much of a pickle as they were in canon. Rather, Naruto and Sakura arrive a lot earlier before Kakuzu transforms, and this would lead into Kakuzu being subdued by a Rasen Shuriken. So Kakuzu gets dropped like how he does in canon, but Kakashi wouldn't be, nearly as damaged as he would be in canon. And overall, it's just an easier time for, our heroes for the story. Now, we would then move on to the Sasuke arc, literally where we mostly focus our time with Sasuke, him fighting Deidara, etc., which wouldn't happen at all. Sasuke's dead. He's not with Orochimaru, obviously. Deidara's dead as well, along with Sasori. So it's really just Tobi hunting down the Three Tails. Now, Jiraiya, around when Sasuke and Itachi would be fighting off against each other, we would have Jiraiya go out and, investigate in the Rain Village, where we would then get, Pain capping Jiraiya and Naruto undergoing Sage Mode training. All that stuff really happens the same. And as for Itachi, he doesn't really know what to do given the fact that Sasuke is dead. I think he would find out over the 2.5 years that he is dead, and now Itachi doesn't know what to genuinely do. He's sick, he's weakened, he doesn't know what to do against Obito. It's genuinely bad, and this would lead into Orochimaru and the others thinking about maybe getting Itachi's body. However, it's going to be kind of hard considering the fact that Orochimaru tried before and got completely just body slammed. And as for the plan B I mentioned earlier, I think Orochimaru genuinely would have no other option but to use his own henchmen. And I think here we could have a similar concept to what Sage Mode Kabuto was, but just have Orochimaru possess Kabuto's body. Uses that body plus all the other stuff that Orochimaru would come with to basically slay everyone else in the Sound 4 or whoever works with him, and would basically just merge them and basically become a freak, like what Sage Kabuto was, like him being able to utilize the Sound 4 abilities and being in Kabuto's body. But I guess the only thing different would be the eyes of Kabuto or whatever, but regardless, it's just Kabuto Sage Mode, but possessed by Orochimaru. So it's actually Orochimaru rather than Walmart Orochimaru. Anyways, we would then get into the Pain Assault arc, which I think for the majority of the story is pretty much the same as in canon. Sasuke doesn't really change this part of the arc, so it's just the same thing, just without transitioning to what Sasuke and Team Taka are doing. And speaking of, the person who would be going out to go and try and take out Killer Bee would be Kisame. And like in my other what ifs, Kisame versus Killer Bee, Kisame would just transform into his tailless tailed beast state, drown, or not drown, I shouldn't have said drown, but just beat up Killer Bee in the water, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And Kisame's Samehada never betrays him, so he still has it in this timeline. So Killer Bee is getting his Biju extracted, which would then lead into the Raikage being forced to call upon a Kage summit. And we would then get Obito declaring the 4th Great Ninja War in the 5 Kage Summit and probably killing Danzo. And with that being said, we wouldn't get, you know, Naruto versus Sasuke or Sakura versus Sasuke. None of that happens because, again, Sasuke is dead. Like, it's pretty obvious. The Kage Summit's actually a lot more peaceful and really not as much of ruckus is being caused. Rather, it's just Obito declaring war, weaving the 4th Raikage and killing Danzo and having Izanagi. Then he would go out to go and take Nagato's body, take the Rinnegan, and now is ready for the 4th Great Ninja War. As for Itachi, he's probably slowly declining in health, which would force him to use basically the last of his chakra, you know, when he's on the brink of death, to send a message out to Naruto, which would be, you know, the Sharingan with, you know, the crow, basically the thing that freed Itachi in the first place from reanimation. And I think Orochimaru would have a similar plan to what Kabuto did, and would become one of the main villains alongside Obito, and they would work together. So the reanimated army is here, and it's probably stronger given the fact that Orochimaru is the one basically causing all of this. And it's not just Kabuto, like it's Orochimaru in Kabuto's body, so obviously he would be stronger. Like it's like Sage Mode Kabuto, but just more improved. Anyways, we would have the exact same reanimated army and the White Zetsu army, but there's a major difference in this timeline. Due to Sasuke not being here, we would never get the 4 Kage being reanimated, which means they wouldn't help turn the tides against the war, and it would honestly just be an ending where our heroes would inevitably fall, with most of the war pretty much dying, and Naruto would eventually die. However, he wouldn't die, like, fully. He would be revived by the Sage of 6 Paths with new power, and he would use this power to defeat probably Jubito, since it wouldn't be a Jubidara, and Jubito would get bopped, and there wouldn't be a Jubidara, and it would just be Naruto bringing peace to the ninja world. So yeah, it's kind of a bittersweet ending with Naruto winning, but losing everything that he had. And I guess Naruto didn't just only lose Sasuke earlier in this timeline. And with that being said, this would conclude the finale of What If Naruto Killed Sasuke, and if you guys do want another What If like this, be sure to comment it down below. With that being said, be sure to subscribe if you are new, because the majority of my viewers are not subscribed. Hit the notification bell that we are notified and updated every time I upload. You know, you're constantly updated, just hit the notification bell. Be sure to follow my Twitter, join the Discord, etc., and I'll catch you guys in the next upload. Peace out, guys.
And no, I'm not continuing to Boruto. What was it? You just stomped everyone. Leave me alone.